Hi, I'm Daniel Cousins with ALiVe Rental Studios, and welcome to the first episode of the ALiVe vlog. This vlog is for teaching photography tips and techniques, along with how to use equipment, what's best, what works, how to utilize the most out of what you have, how to do things on the cheap, all sorts of fun, useful tidbits of help. Today, I'm just going to go over the basics of the equipment I use here in the studio. With ALiVe here in Stratford, Prince Edward Island, we have a low-key studio and we have a high-key studio. Today we're in the low-key, and I'm going to go over first the lights that are around me and the stands. There's not much, but it works great. We do have another set of lights, it's a rarely used set. When it comes up in a video tutorial, I will talk about it. Alright. So, I use newer lights. They're basic flash, they're really cheap and easy to use. They're all, of course, radio controlled and have a great fast recycle rate. Basic stand, nothing too fancy. Standard softbox. Works great. When we explore a bit more of the basic studio equipment later on in the video, you'll see additional accessories for the newer lights. Along with the basic studio stands, we have a boom stand. Mainly great for extending the reach of your light higher up. It's a bit more heavy duty. Has to have a counterbalance. Mine's cheap, it's just some heavy objects in a free reusable grocery bag. BMO does not pay me, but if they like this promotion, then call me. Simple to use, fairly sturdy. Heavy and hard to work. We're going to cut to this little table. I use this table a lot. It's a great wood grain background for shooting. It's great for putting things up on my level. And it just has some of my basic equipment. This video, I'll clarify, is being shot with a Canon EOS 7D with a 1.8 50mm lens. If I'm shooting, and it's because it has the video quality, the other camera, not so much. But I do shoot with both. Alright, let's head over. Here we are at the table with just a bunch of little pieces of equipment I use. We'll go over these again, but they're just really simple. We've had a transceiver and a transmitter for flashes. They'll just plug right in, hook this onto your hot shoe of your camera, flash, and they're on apparently. Always really reliable and great to have. An all-in-one card reader. You can find these online, dirt cheap, and buy a bunch. The most expensive ones don't last. The cheap ones don't last as long, but in the run of things, you save money. I shoot with compact flash because that's what my cameras take, but I also have a few little devices that do take SD cards, and I will go over that in later videos. It's a tiny one, mainly because it fit on the table, but we do use clamps, holding backgrounds, wardrobe, all sorts of fun things. Clamps, clothespins, safety pins, they're all really, really useful pieces of equipment. A little button strobe. These are great for just adding little effects. I absolutely adore these. They're cheap, they're reliable-ish. As long as you have batteries in them. They work great. Very ease of mind. And you can hide them anywhere if you use the right equipment. Tripod modifier. Just a simple ball head one. Got a couple of them. Again, it's a cheap, helpful little tool. They're great for monopods. Next, I have my little Vivitar flash. This thing is cheap, cheap, cheap. You can pick these up at secondhand stores for less than $10. I was kind of lucky. I got this for like $5 at a secondhand store in Charlottetown. And it came with its own little set of gels, which are really fun to play with. I don't really use it on my camera. It's not a very versatile flash, but if you hook it up with a similar setup to this, it works really great as an off-camera flash. Be a little strobe-ish. It's cheap. You can buy the transmitters on eBay for like $20. Then, one of my favorite devices for basically doing a lot of studio work when you don't want to touch the camera is a shutter release. Simple, elegant, hasn't really changed that much except for the adapters. When you're going to buy one, they are cheap online. There's really not that much difference. What you're out if it breaks is not that much. Make sure you know which adapter. This is the higher end Canon adapter because I'm shooting with, as I mentioned before, an EOS 7D. And I'm also shooting with an EOS 1D Mark II. Old, bulky, but a great second shooter. And good for when I have to use my main shooter for video. It's equipped right now with my Tamron 28 to 75 millimeter. And it's just a nice little workhorse. It's great to have. It has a custom strap, my designed body cap savers. There's basically body cap, where it's safe, on you, ready when you need it, and it doesn't bug you. I've been shooting with this every so often. I never notice. It's great, and oftentimes I forget that it's on there. All right. And at least there will be videos, long-term exposures, self-portraits, just little tutorials that are so helpful. That is a must-have in any camera bag, in my opinion. Then we have the light meter. This is my Sectonic one. It's great, it's reliable. Older ones work pretty well. The digital ones are the best. You can find old, just natural light meters. They don't work well for flash. But these are a little confusing. How I ended up with this one is someone didn't know how to use it. They thought it was broken. They sold it to me cheap. It works fine. The next video coming up, I'm going to go over just the basics of a Sectonic light meter. Here, how to turn it on, how to change around your modes. Be a fairly simple video. This one's kind of long, but this is an intro. And that's pretty much it for the table. Over the course of videos, I get new stuff, and you get fancy toys, and it's gonna go over. Right? I might do a brief intro video after I played with it for a bit. And anytime I introduce a new piece of equipment, I'll probably have a little table explanation for what it does, how it's useful. Is it a have or a have not? Next up, we're on to what every studio has. And then we'll be heading to our outro. Next up, we have the studio's treasure chest, named by two awesome kids who came in and visited, and I can't really say I argue with them. It's full of my kind of treasure. In each studio, we have a box or a closet that holds just the basics fixed for each studio. So we have two solid color muslins, white and blue in this studio right now, but these change. Normally there's a white or a black and or a blue or green. Then we have a more tie-dye muslin. So then either this gray, blue, or purpley gray. Then we have some light modifiers for our lights, such as a set of barn doors, and it's alright to leave these ones open. And someone must be using the grids right now because they're not in here. But we also have diffuser and color gels. Don't throw the gels. I'm a professional, I know what I'm doing. Then each one, we have umbrellas with reflective inside. Again, just another great light modifier. Our last set of light modifiers we have in each studio. This one's actually from the newer company. We have a 5-in-1 reflector. Somewhere here, this is a zipper. Light diffuser. And each one has about 2 reflectors. We have one large and one small. This is the California Sunbelt small reflector, or subwoofer. It's a great little reflector to have, reliable. I will probably have at least 2 or 3 videos in this series of how to use this and why it is a great $100 investment for any photographer. Then finally, we have a little kit. Finally, we have the box. Cheap little extra boxes. And they just hold a few essentials for the studio, such as shutter releases. And we have a variety of types. I'll be going over these a little bit more. Already got over these actually. Going out of order. But they're great, useful tools. And I try to keep a Nikon one, a lower grade Canon one, and a pro grade Canon one in the box at all times. Then we have a nice little trigger set with an adapter, transceiver, transmitter, mainly just for setting off your strobes without trying to time your finger movements. And then the last little thing we have in here right now is just a helpful helper, your level. And that's what's in our studio kits. So that's it for this basic equipment I use. news and a little bit of our studio. I look forward to having a bunch of helpful tutorials on this vlog. Keep your eyes peeled. I will be filming the tectonic light meter guide fairly quickly. Probably after I'm done filming this one. And then through the magic of editing. This looks nice. And it'll basically be a distance between them. Your trust I can be quick. Anyway, I'm Daniel Cousins from the ALiVe Rental Studios here in Stratford, Prince Edward Island. Have fun shooting.